In my career, I have had the opportunity to work on many different projects. Not all have resulted in successful outcomes, but I always could take something away from them as a learning opportunity. As I look back at the failures over the years, a theme seems to become clear. In each failure, we didn't deliver what the customer wanted. We may have developed a lot of amazing new functionality that was bug-free and developed quickly, but in the end, it wasn't what the customer wanted. How many times have you been on a project where you delivered something that wasn't what the customer wanted? Maybe you came close, and maybe the customer was okay with releasing the product, but it wasn't exactly 100% what they wanted. Sound familiar? Maybe you've seen this picture depicting the world we live in today. What surprises me most about this picture is not the fact that it holds true in so many ways. What surprises me is the fact that it is repeated so often, even when we know how to fix it. We have so many techniques to use today that repeating this failure should be impossible, and yet it lives on. As Albert Einstein so succinctly stated, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Let's take a closer look at today's problems as conveyed with the simple tire swing cartoon. In the first cartoon, we see a 3-seated rope swing tied to a tree with the caption, "How the customer explained it." We can take away from this picture two things. One, this is how the customer actually explained what they wanted to be built. And two, this is how the engineer heard the customer explain what they wanted to be built. In either case, it is clear that this is not what was desired. If the customer and the engineer had actually spoken, or had even been in the same room, it is hard to imagine this would be the image in both minds when the requirements were completed. To go even further, if the requirement was written as a user story that included a benefit and success criteria, it's even harder to imagine this solution being created. In the second cartoon, we see a rope swing with one seat, and ropes holding the seats are tied to branches that prevent the swing from use, with the caption, "How the project leader understood it." Our takeaway from this picture leads us to believe that leadership on the project doesn't understand the customer's requirements and that they have decision-making power for the product being built. If we were building this fictional tire swing using agile techniques, leadership wouldn't be involved, as they don't play a role in building the product. On an agile team, putting offending the leadership aside, it would be up to the customer and the team to ensure that everyone knew what was to be built and what success looks like at the end. In the third cartoon, we see a cut-up tree being held up with branches for support, with one seat tied to ropes that again would prevent the swing from use due to the design, with the caption, "How the analyst designed it." We are led to believe that the analyst not only didn't understand clearly what the customer expressed in their requirements, but that the analyst was left to design the solution without any input. It is evident from this picture that there is a strong command and control framework in place where one role was given the authority for complete design and that the team was left to build what was put forth. Even if members of the team had heard what the customer expressed, and even if the customer was present, this picture shows us what happens when we don't work with all people involved on the team in building a solution. In the fourth cartoon, we see two ropes tied to one seat with the swing on the ground to the side of the tree and a caption of "How the programmer wrote it." In this picture, we are led to believe again that the programmer heard something drastically different from what the customer said and was left alone to build a solution. This picture shows how easy it would be for a programmer to build a solution that may have met the customer's stated requirements, but it is not functional. The programmer was most likely working in a culture that shunned questioning or imagination and instead stressed results and completed work. Think of the wasted time spent building this solution and the mental toll it must have taken on the programmer. In the fifth and final cartoon, we see one rope tied around a tree branch with a simple tire tied to the other side of the rope with the caption, "What the customer really needed." In this picture, we finally see the finished product that the customer requested. What can we say about this simple tire swing? It is now obvious what our customer wanted, and it looks like a very simple design and one that works. What could have happened differently in this scenario than the other 4? How could things have worked out differently had we taken a different approach? Let's take a closer look. Starting with requirement gathering. If this were an agile project, the requirement could have been written as a user story and may have been written like this. As a parent, I want a simple swing supported by a tree branch so that my child can have fun swinging back and forth with their friends. The user story helps us understand who would be using the swing, the level of complexity desired, how the swing should work, and roughly for how many people it should be capable of supporting. In addition to the user story, the customer could also add success criteria like, I will know the swing is complete when the swing moves back and forth in the air below the tree, and my child and a friend can swing back and forth. Once the team met to review the requirement, they would be able to ask questions to ensure everyone understood what was being asked. Leaving this session, everyone on the team and the customer will have the same understanding and clarity. As the team begins building the swing, the customer would be involved in frequent inspections of the product to ensure it was being created as expected. As this is an agile team, no one person would hold any more weight over another. Thus, the build process will be performed by a cross-functional team of qualified people. The team would also be able to leverage a Scrum Master to help remove any impediments while also shielding the team from any unnecessary external interferences. Do you find that you are still building the pictures displayed in the first 4 boxes? Do you find yourself repeating a process yet expecting a different result? If so, there is a better way to create software products, and you shouldn't have to go through multiple failures before making a difference. To learn more about how guidance technology can help, please visit us at www.guidance-technology.com/resources.